What's happened to Mosey as well, Keith? Has he had an argument with Wilder?
Oh, no.
According to the football show this morning, they were saying he'd had an argument with Wilder.
That's not a good idea.
No, it isn't. He'll be out sick.
Yeah. I'm just going to go and see Big Paul.
I'm up. Sorry, I'm up there, but I don't. It's not going back as late as it's not normally should.
Chris,
it's working, Paul.
Yeah.
Right, you're on gallery view.
Been disappointing today with this breakdown.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chris, can you hear me, Chris?
Can you hear me, Mother?
Chris is still connecting, Dave. He's still connecting.
Okay.
Colin's coming on. It's all taking a bit longer today. I think there's some serious bandwidth issues.
I'm just going to get myself another drink. We're nearly all there. 2 seconds.
Well, some of us are more there than others. Aye, the RAF's out. I'm right next to a big airfield called RAF Bryce Norton. And
Never heard of it.
they're flying a lot of the big transport jets at the moment.
You said right next to you. How far away?
Well, Abingdon's literally a walk away, but that's an army base now. Bryce Norton's about 20 minutes to a place called Carterton, which is in the Cotswolds.
Yeah.
Benson, where I used to play a lot of rugby, was a headquarters 38 group, now home to helicopters. That's literally 10, 15 minutes car drive.
Right. Yeah.
So it's quite a stronghold. Yes, Dave.
Chris, are you there?
Oh.
Yeah, we was asked a question yesterday. Why do they call it a popping crease in cricket? Do you know?
No.
No.
Wow.
That's
Probably some.
No,
Probably
no
something
idea
to do with,
either, Chris.
probably something to do with popping your back in when you run it. I have no idea.
Ah,
Not
Well,
a clue.
that's theory.
really surprised at that.
You'd be
Why is
surprised.
the popping crease called?
You'll be
You
surprised.
just ask him one question, Dave, and he lets you down.
Oh,
You'll be surprised how much I do not know. I thought
sure you would
Colin,
know.
do you know? Colin?
No, I don't, unless it's something going in quickly and out again.
Popping your back in, I don't know.
Yeah. It might be putting your back down, as you say.
Yeah.
After
I shall have to ask Bumbles.
Yeah. When Keith
Why is a
Jackson
popping
comes
crease
back on,
called a popping crease?
when Keith comes back on, ask Keith because he might know.
What's that?
I've got the definition on Google here, and it don't make any sense at all.
No, I'm trying it.
So called because it caused the batsman's eyes to goggle. Popping crease under the rules of cricket in the 1700s, a batsman had to place his bat into a hole cut in the turf to score a run. The name popping hole then became popping crease. Don't really tell you anything.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it says in my Wikipedia here, there are 4 creases in cricket. 1 popping crease, 1 bowling crease, and 2 return creases are drawn at each end of the pitch, around 2 sets of stump. 1 popping crease, 1 bowling crease, 2 return creases.
I've got the answer if you want it. If you really want it. Under the rules of cricket in the 1700s, a batsman had to place his bat into a hole cut in the turf to score a run. The wicketkeeper / fielders had to get the ball into the hole before the bat in order to effect a run out. The hole was called the popping hole, as in popping the ball into it. But after too many fielders had their fingers broken by the batsman slamming his bat into the hole at the same time as the fielder's hand, it was decided to change the hole to a line. The name popping hole then became popping crease. There you
Very
go.
good.
Well done, Ian.
Well done.
Well done. Can I add that that's out of date now, because in recreational cricket there's another line, and that line is 2 metres from the centre stump for COVID virus social distancing. You are not allowed. You are not allowed to get near the umpire or the bowler. So there is now another set of lines.
Really?
Is that the COVID crease?
That's called the COVID crease, Keith.
Yeah.
That's genuine.
Yeah. Shouldn't it be 1 metre plus now?
Except in Barnard Castle.
Two if possible. Two
Yeah.
if possible.
Yeah, 2 if possible.
As Paul says, except in Barnard Castle.
Is that where you drive to test that you've not gone blind?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
It's where all the referees and umpires go.
Yeah. Right. Let's try and move on. And Chris, can we have the next instalment, please, of Paul?
Certainly. Just to remind the group that at this stage, my dad's got into the Notts first team, and he's had this wonderful partnership with Keith Miller, the Australian, and the season is drawing to a close in 1959. The other thing, I keep saying I'm reading his words. This is my dad's autobiography, and it's all in longhand, and I'm busy sort of typing it up and getting it into some sort of order. So these are the words of my dad in his autobiography. Okay, guys, can I crack on?
Yep.
Okay.
Please do.
Please.
Okay. 3 months, just 3 months following my partnership with Keith Miller at Trent Bridge, I asked for me to be released from what was a 2-year contract with Notts. His teammates, who were fairly surprised at that, actually presented my dad with a silver tankard, which is a solid silver tankard, and that was a very touching thing for all his friends to do. Going back to my dad, possibly looking back, it was the offer of more security and less financial worries into the world of bookmaking with Jeff Ostick's in Retford that caused me to make the decision. Just another bit of interest. This is my dad's second team blazer. Significantly, that's the original logo, and Notts have gone back to that logo this year. This blazer my dad wore many times. He represented Notts 2s 63 times. So that blazer is, it was his pride and joy. He wore it all the time. I had no proper job in the winter months. I was just trying to earn a few pounds from helping at the Pheasant Hotel, which my mum and dad were now managing in Retford, or even by delivering bags of potatoes to local fish and chip shops. In 1960, I had the responsibility of my young wife, Mary, and a 4-year-old son called Chris. But whatever caused me to make my decision, I regretted bitterly. When April 1960 dawned and I knew that all the lads were reporting back for training, I was virtually a mental wreck. Exactly why I did what I did, I'll never know. But I was so saddened by my actions that for nearly 3 years, I didn't even play league cricket for Retford. I worked very hard for Ostick's. I learnt a lot about horse racing, and I worked many nights on my own when Mr. Ostick was busy with his council duties. Excuse me. I confined myself to Sunday 11 cricket, but eventually I did come back all guns blazing. I started playing for not second team as an amateur between 1960 and 1979. I played 24 additional matches for Notts. And I also went on to have a very long career as captain of Retford, the Notts Cricket Association, the Sheffield Cricket Lovers Society, and then in 1970, I was actually appointed captain of the Notts second team. These teams took me to all sorts of places: Barbados, St. Lucia, Gibraltar, France, and venues like Old Trafford and Bramall Lane. I found a picture of my dad on one of his first tours to Barbados, and that's right in front of the Sir Garfield Sobers Pavilion in 1979. I've just marked my dad there, he's got the silly hat on. But that's a very proud moment for a group of Englishmen to play at the Test match ground and be welcomed into those facilities, which have all gone now, and the ground obviously is redone and is modernised. But that was when it was the previous ground before the World Cup final in 2007. When I returned to league cricket, I was very nervous despite all my experience. But I did make 50 in a very tough league game, and from that moment on, I knew that my appetite for the game had been restored. I started to play for Retford again in 1966 and 1967, and I realised we'd got the foundations of a very good team. I actually won the batting averages in 1967 with over 600 runs at 52, and I went on a 14.5-year spell in which I never missed a single game that was available for me to play in. And he kept a record of that, and it was 635 games consecutively without missing a match. When he achieved his 300th league appearance consecutively, the club mounted the ball of that match. This was in 1981, and this silver trophy was presented to my dad for breaking the record for the most consecutive league appearances. Keith Jackson, who broke this record?
Who broke it?
Who broke it?
Don't know. Can't remember that.
His son, Nigel Hall.
Nigel did it?
Nigel
right.
Hall broke that record, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
I was asked to become Retford's captain in 1968, and there followed 4 incredibly successful years when we won the Bassetlaw Championship twice. That was in 68 and 69. We achieved it by a record points margin of 14 points in both seasons, and we lost 2 games in 2 years. A certain teenage Derek Randall was a member of those talented teams, and the 68 championship team was the first achieved by Retford Cricket Club since my dad, JB, had been captain in 1949. Derek had started showing up for Retford as a 9-year-old with incredible speed and reflexes, and by 17 he was in the first 11 with myself. We all called him Arkle, didn't we, Keith?
We did.
We all called him Arkle after the champion racehorse. But more about Derek Randall a little later, and if I'm allowed, part 5 of this story. Yeah. Now, John Coddington and Keith Jackson, who is a member of our group this morning, formed the spearhead opening attack of Retford Cricket Club. They were both, these are my dad's words, they were quick, accurate, determined and consistent. Our opposition were frequently 10 for 3 or the like, and not destined to recover. Now, Keith took 36 wickets at under 14 apiece in 1968, and John Coddington achieved 51 wickets at just 10.7. I've got a picture here of Retford Cricket Club. This is 1968. I've marked. Okay, I've marked where my dad is. Can you see my dad in the middle? Okay. Keith's at the back row where my finger is now. There's Keith. And Derek Randall is the young man, the youngster in the team, on the other side of the team photograph. So that's a very proud moment, obviously, for everyone, Keith, wasn't it?
It was
And
very, oh, yeah.
it's probably the first team photograph of Derek Randall at the start of his career.
Yeah. I've got that on my wall in my hall as well, that photo.
Yes, Keith, I think I've seen it, and it's mighty well won.
Yes.
Also from that year, we've got the actual menu of the championship dinner that was held at the Retford Town Hall, at which all the players, my granddad JB, were present. And if you can see the signature, it's signed by the guest speaker, who was Norman Yardley, the very famous Yorkshire and England captain, who was the guest speaker on that night. So it went a little better than the 1949 effort, where in 1949, just before the dinner took place at the town hall, the mayor of Retford died at the drinks reception and had to be taken to hospital, but died as she got there. So that was a terrible thing that happened in 1949. Pleased to say nobody had a problem in 1968. Excuse me. Pick up where my dad left off. I gave total commitment to Retford Cricket Club. My intention was for Retford to become the dominant team in the league. That was how he played, Keith, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah.
On my return to playing serious league cricket, I was honoured to be selected for the Bassetlaw League, something that my father, JB, had achieved in his own career. I played 35 consecutive cup ties for the league, and we won the National Cricket Conference on 3 tremendous occasions. Firstly in 1971, then 76 and 78, we were runners-up in 73. In 1971, we played the powerful Yorkshire League at Bramall Lane in the quarter-final, and we won by just 4 runs. We then played the Birmingham League in the final at Solihull. The Birmingham League had a certain Pakistani bowler playing for them called Imran Khan, who was a young man qualifying for Worcestershire. We overcame his fine efforts. I scored a valuable mid-innings 31 and then caught Imran Khan, and we won the first ever national title by 12 runs. My dad, JB, was present at the final, as the chairman of the Bassetlaw League, and he cried with joy. And that in itself was an everlasting memory. That's a picture, if you can see that one, of my dad batting at Bramall Lane. I'll take it out of the cover, it's a bit shiny. So there he is, batting at Bramall Lane. And there's the famous white railings around the Bramall Lane outfield. He's playing there in the quarter-final, which they did manage to win. And then in the final, you've heard he got a good score, but he also caught a pretty brilliant catch. And there's a picture of my dad flat on his back, having caught one of the Birmingham players, and that certainly helped the team win. So that was a very happy day in all our lives, really. Yes, everyone's. In the mid-70s, I recruited several key players for Retford, including the South African Kenny Watson and Peter Hacker, both of whom were on the staff at Nottinghamshire. And they played as Retford's professionals. We recorded a hat-trick of league championships under my captaincy in 76, 77 and 78. My eldest son, Chris, made his start in the first 11 in the first of those championship wins, and he was then joined by his brother Nigel from 79 onwards. Keith, you're on a lot of these pictures, mate, but that's Retford in 1976, the first of those championship victories. That was taken just a few days after the club had won it. Dad's at the front, as you can see in the middle, where my finger is. Keith's very proudly there. Keith, you graduated to the front row by 76.
That's not bad. That took a while.
You're now on the front row. And the marvellous Peter Hacker, who I am trying to get as a guest for us. Peter Hacker from Nottinghamshire, one of the fastest bowlers in England at the time. He was our pro. And I remember saying to somebody, it might have been Keith, thank God I play for Retford because it means I haven't got to play against him. That's how quick.
Well, him and Kenny Watson between them, they were both very, very quick.
They were lightning quick. And there were no helmets, no protection. Basically, if you got hit, you got hurt.
That's right.
Just to finish on the visuals, because I hope you find the visuals interesting.
Yeah, I do.
That top photograph is my dad, Mike, and his dad, JB, and that's on the same day, and they're sharing there the joy of winning the Bassetlaw League Championship together. And below that, that's myself, my dad, and my brother. A couple of years, 2 or 3 years later, and that's the first time we ever played in the first team together as father and 2 sons. And quite coincidentally, as you can see from the photograph, the match was played at Worksop, where my granddad had the most of his career and made his debut for Notts all those years ago. That was an amazing coincidence that we should all end up playing at that ground.
Yeah.
Just to finish, in 1977, which we won the championship again, here's a picture of the team. Sorry, got a sticker on it. Here's a picture of that team. Keith Jackson's still on it. I'm still on it. There's my dad. The guy in the middle in the suit is Harold Larwood. And Harold Larwood was a guest of the league on that day, and he came to visit the match, which ended in a tie, and was part of Retford's championship season. And so my dad and Keith and myself are all pictured on a picture with arguably the most famous, well, one of the most famous players of all time, Harold Larwood. Amazing photograph. And we won the league. Do you know what happened off the last ball, Keith, in that match?
No, I can't remember. I just haven't got a memory.
Right. They needed 6 to tie, and John Brown bowled, your colleague, and he got hit for 6 straight over the sight screen for six, and they tied the match. It was a right old game, that one. It was fit enough for Harold Larwood to see. So just finishing off there, there was some good moments. And then came Derek Randall. Another era eventually dawned at Trent Bridge after my own career had ended there. In my younger days, I could never have envisaged. I refer to the rise of Derek Randall of Retford Cricket Club. Eventually climbed to the heights of the professional game. He became one of Nottinghamshire's greatest ever batsmen, the finest fielder in the history of the game, a brilliant test career with 4 Ashes winners, 4 Ashes series wins, 7 test centuries, and he became, at the time, a superstar of the English scene. But in the early 60s, I spent thousands of hours with Derek, coaching, teaching, encouraging, instructing, often just him and me. When he left the Sir Frederick Milner School, which was actually located at the bottom of our garden in Retford, he would implore me to go to the ground to practice. This was possible between 60 and 1965 because I was working at Jeff Ostick's, so I could take the afternoon off, practice with Derek, and then go back to work to man the telephone lines at the bookmakers. Derek's appetite for this game was insatiable. And of all the cricketers I have seen by that time, and all the ones I saw later, he was the one who possessed the natural ability and the talent to go to the top of the game. Excuse me. I took him everywhere, and Derek often played truant from school. On one occasion, there was a mix-up between Retford's Alan Bull and myself about collecting Derek to take him to Trent Bridge for the 1963 Test match. Alan, bless him, agreed to go all the way back to Retford, and Derek was still patiently waiting in the spot for his lift. With his teammates at Retford, which included Keith for all those years, we practiced and we played football and cricket on the ground, for example, every Sunday throughout the winter, and whatever the weather, at either 6, 7 or 8 aside. Derek was actually a brilliant footballer, but all he wanted to do was dribble round people, go back and do it again.
It is.
It is. So that's what I'd like to finish on this morning and say, if you'd like me to do my dad's actual life with Derek Randall as he became the England superstar, that would be part 5.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, can I ask a question? Chris?
Yes, Paul.
Do you know a guy called Jim Harkin? He
Oh,
played,
yeah, he was on those. Yeah, I know him very well. You knew him very well.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. He was my first boss. He played for Steakley, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good player.
Good cricketer. He played for Retford as well. A good cricketer, Jim.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. A very funny guy as well.
Right, just before we
Bear
move
with me.
on.
Jim Harkin
Yeah?
is there, look.
Just hold it up again. Oh, yeah. That's
And
right.
That's the 1968 championship team with Keith
Right.
and my dad playing in the team. So Jim became a very important part of the championship winning teams.
Right. Okay. Yeah, great bloke. Great bloke.
That's amazing, you know him.
He gave me my first job.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Small world.
I played football against his school. He was the head of PE at Dinnington.
He was, that's right. My dad recruited him and he became a Retford player. He became a Steakley player as well.
Yes, he did, yeah.
So between the two, I don't know how many championships he won. He must have won at least half a dozen.
Right.
Very good player. Great fielder.
Yeah, good spin bowler.
That's what fascinates me about this group. The way that you actually don't know, but you do know all each other, you know, and you're eventually coming together. I think it's fabulous to listen to.
Yeah.
I really do.
Look, if I've got 1 minute, last night I went for a walk like you do, and I bumped straight into Alan Bull. Where's Keith? I'm straight into Alan Bull,
right?
Who obviously was a member of all those teams with Keith and my dad. Wish to be remembered to you, Keith. Alan Bull was one of the great players in cricket, wasn't he, for us? And there's Alan. I've got my finger on him now. There's Alan. And I bumped into him last night. He's a near neighbour, but I don't see him very frequently. And he actually went to Notts on the staff, went on to an England match as a 12th man and caught a catch against Pakistan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
He was also in the football team I was captain of at Carhill in 1953-54.
Really?
Yeah, I've got a photograph somewhere, so I'll have to dig that out for you for next week.
Will.
Please do. Yeah.
How fabulous.
Just before we move on, quickly, have we said happy birthday to Big Paul today?
Yes.
Today, then, it's his birthday.
Yeah, we've said it, but we've not sung it. Yeah.
Was there any cake left?
I went looking.
Sorry about the cake. I think I finished it off last night. I would have saved you some, but we only had 8 pieces.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
How many on this call?
Can I just say that I know the National Football Museum is at Manchester because we've been, but until today I didn't realise that the National Cricket Museum is Chris's house.
You ain't seen anything yet.
Right. Oh, right. Right. Okay. Let's move on. Dave or Susan, whichever you are today, you've got a few offbeat Olympic questions.
That's right. Yep. This is it's in a magazine. It says Olympic Oddities, and here are some of the more unusual contests in the event's history. In 1912 to 1948, you could win an Olympic medal for painting a good picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be a true Olympian, was a watercolorist, sculptor, or musician, as well as an athlete. And this was abandoned in 49.
Yeah. Cyril could have won a medal.
Aye.
Cyril could have won a medal, couldn't he?
Yeah.
It's still regarded as a cultural festival as well as a sporting festival. There is a cultural festival runs alongside the Olympic Games every year.
Yeah, it's right. It says croquet. It didn't really take off as an Olympic sport, as it only took place once in 1950. Oh, sorry, 1900. For a start, the French took home all the medals, largely because only they signed up for the event. The game itself only attracted one spectator, a single spectator. So, there you go.
He was lost.
Right then, tug of war between 1900 and 1920. It says the most controversial tug of war was in 1908, when the US protested against Great Britain's win against them, claiming that our team of Liverpool policemen wore illegal footwear in the form of big heavy boots. So, about that then.
Typical Liverpoolian.
Shut
up.
They'd do anything to get a medal.
Calm down, calm down.
Then there's synchronized swimming, but this is solo synchronized swimming. Did you not? It says synchronized swimming is all about a group coordinating their moves and making gorgeous patterns in the water. So it seems quite a tall order for one person to try to achieve this on their own. But this event took place in 1984, 1988 and 1992. And the swimmer was marked on how well they danced and swam to their selected music.
I made a nice pattern in the water once, but I was asked to leave the pool.
Bubbles in the bath?
Yeah. 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 Not many people know that, you know that Johnny Weissmuller won a lot of Olympic medals, but he also won one for synchronized swimming with that rubber crocodile. Tarzan film.
Rope climbing. Participants in 1896 had to shimmy up a braided rope as fast as they could. And then plunge for distance.
Thank you.
And about this one, William Dickey took home the gold for this one-off event in 1900 for gliding the furthest in a pool after diving in. And then finally...
Oh, Dave?
Yeah?
I used to go to the swimming hall at Longley Baths because my grandma used to run the cafe there, and every year one of the competitions in it was floating across the pool. They dive in, and it was whoever could go furthest without making any strokes or anything.
Sounds as though this is a similar thing, but this says they glide. So
yeah, well, same thing, yeah. Yes, John.
What years were your grandma at Longley Baths? Because my Uncle Sammy used to run Longley Baths, and I used to work in the bagging shed there in the summer. That's where the Wednesday players used to go. When were your grandma there?
50s.
Your
50s.
Your uncle
too young for me to too soon for me to have gone out with her then, Keith.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did your uncle run your bath every day, John?
He did. He did. He were blooming cold. I tell you, Longley Bath as well, Ian. Freezing.
It was. Right. Sorry, Dave. Go on.
Yeah, this is the last one. This is hot air ballooning. Part of the Paris 1900 Olympics. Was that when? Oh, that was 1908. Oh, 1900 was when the croquet in Paris then. Participants faced 18 separate contests, testing distance, elevation and duration. One of which was to drift in the balloon over a target on the ground and drop a missile as close to the bullseye as possible. That's it.
Let's show them what they would have won.
Well done.
All right.
Right, we're getting down to 2 minutes. So, John, have you got any updates for us for the group?
Not a lot. Well, I'd mentioned yesterday about Dave and his the police kicking his front gate down, but he seems to have recovered from that. I'm not so sure about his wife, who were already suffering from anxiety. So getting the gate kicked down at 5:30 in the morning didn't do her any good. Eric sends his best wishes to Big Paul. Happy birthday from Eric. He was sorry he couldn't make it yesterday, but he'd got his weekly ritual in looking after his elder brother and elder sister, but he wished he could have been there. Just a quick update. I had, just immediately before this meeting, I had an half-an-hour conversation with a journalist from my kind of town, Keith, who and they're going to do an article about my dad and his memoirs. Not in the next quarter's issue, because it's too late for that, but probably in the issue after that. And I've also given her details of the website, Ian, Sporting Memories website, which is keen to have a look at, and invited her to come and visit us once we reopen again at Crystal Peaks and Manor. But I'll be meeting her because she lives on Mosborough Moor, so hopefully I'll get an article about my dad in the issue after next.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Right, that's brilliant. So we're less than a minute to go, chaps. Thank you. Sorry about all the problems